Hi everyone, I'm Asha, an Akashic Records reader, blogger, and podcaster. In this series, we will demystify the Akashic Records by bringing to you bite-sized contents on frequently asked questions relating to the Akashic Records. We will also explore topics relating to spirituality, as well as practical application, learnings, and reflections in the Akashic Records. My Akashic Masters are very excited to join us in this journey. We send much love, light, and blessings to all. Welcome to episode 16 of Case Study 7 of Deep Healing of Past and Present Issues Afflicting the Soul. Today we will share the case study of a client. Let's call her Adora. So Adora came to me with several questions to work on for this deep healing session. So she shared with me that she has been checking dating apps and websites very regularly, but she can't seem to meet the right guy. She asked if she is a jinx to love, or maybe it is not the right time yet. On this first query, I received from Adora's Masters, certainly not. You are loved and supported by us, whether you are aware of it or not. Don't feel that no one in this world loves you just because you can't find the ideal partner in any of your relationships in the past or the guys that you met online. These past experiences are part of your soul's learning and growth for you to understand yourself and stand in that infinite self-love that you have from within. It is not for these guys to come in and make you feel abandoned, but the purpose is to make you realize that you can live life independently with or without them. They are optional, not mandatory. Her masters also reminded her to enjoy and embrace the abundance that she has by reminding her that she's still earning her stable income, living life independently in a prosperous way, such that she don't really need them in her life. On the second query, Adora asked what are the blocks to her attracting a soulmate or a life partner, as she can't seem to meet one despite putting in her best efforts. On the second query, her master shared that the blocks are Adora's self-doubt and frustration. On self-doubt, because of all these futile attempts searching for the right guy online, after a while it feels almost opportunistic, as if she's waiting to strike 4D or lottery. Therefore, it puts Adora in misalignment after a while. Like her conscious self wants this person with a set criterion, which she searched by all these filtered results to hopefully meet someone closer to the selected traits. But after a while, because of all these perceived failures, the self-doubt kicks in. And it also is inconsistent with the patience and divine timing that one needs. Masters shared on the concept of divine timing in this session. They shared that divine timing requires us to have patience. Everyone's divine timing is different. Some may be faster and some may be shorter. So we can't compare ourselves with others. For example, we can't compare and say, why this other person never seemed to put in any effort, the soulmate just jumped out and they married happily ever after, and wonder, why is this not happening to me? The masters clarify that we can't compare because our soul chose our lessons differently. In Adora's case, her soul chose to come to a realization that she suffices on her own, that her love for herself is so infinite and abundant that others are good to have but not mandatory. Adora's masters encourage her to come into a fluid and flexible mentality where she can still be open to good guys coming along, but she don't have to put herself out there to diligently search for the right guy online every day. All these attempts backfire, and these perceived failures led to Adora feeling very frustrated. On any past life connections to these issues, we went deeper with Adora's Akashic Masters to see what else we could uncover. I was shown an image of Adora as a young toddler held on by her mom at the river with the dad watching nearby. There was some struggling going on between the young toddler and her mom, and the word abandon showed up. So her masters explained to me that in that past life, Adora's parents tried to abandon her, despite the close blood ties they have. Adora felt like she couldn't even deserve the love of her closest ones, let alone others. So Adora shared with me that while she has no recollection of her past life, she has always felt abandoned. Adora also queried why she keeps attracting all these non-committal people coming to her life, despite her being very sincere, and she finds it very difficult to take herself out of the situation. In response, Adora's masters shared that past life was a crucial one, as it was then that Adora felt abandoned by even her closest ones, who were her parents in that case. Nobody seemed to bother about her existence. They just wanted her dead. So therefore, Adora brought with her the fear of abandonment into this lifetime. And because this fear of abandonment is so deep within her, it makes her seek the external longing for someone to fulfill her. Adora's masters clarified that it's not because Adora did any bad or evil. It is just this thing stuck within her that makes her feel that something is incomplete or missing within her. Her masters also shared that in this lifetime, this fear of abandonment and all these related past life experiences also led Adora to have an uneasy relationship with her family members. So Adora shared that her parents are separated and she's no longer keeping in touch with them. However, she's staying with her relatives and fortunately gets along well with her relatives. Her masters also shared that this fear of abandonment is being repeated in this lifetime and is materializing now in every guy that she meets, which she then bottles up and suppresses within her. So every guy that she meets, nobody seems able to be trusted or willing to commit and settle down. But fortunately, her present difficulties are being uplifted by the presence of her relatives. It puts her in a better position in this lifetime compared to that past life. On Adora's third query, we explored what are the suggestions to release the fear of abandonment identified during the session. So on this query, Adora's master suggested for Adora to try to involve yourself to give back to society, and in particular the less fortunate, so that you feel connected and fortunate. They explain that Adora will realize how abundant and talented you are when you give yourself a chance to surround with other people who may be less fortunate. It is not that they are less fortunate per se, but in certain things they may be deprived to a greater extent than us. It is just that our vision is limited right now to people who are on par or better. So we keep subconsciously or unknowingly comparing ourselves with them. Her masters remind that such comparisons are unhealthy in the long term, as it dims your own light. You have so much infinite love within you, like river flowing. And because of all the experiences you had, you are very capable of being the independent lady, where if guys come and it suits you, it is good to have, but not mandatory. Adora does not have to rely on them or wait for them to abandon her. She can find herself the right to choose. By giving back to society, Adora will be reminded of how abundant and talented she is. It uplifts her as a whole and puts her in a higher vibration to attract more positive people into her life. Adora's masters also suggested for her to consider choosing those voluntary work that are more community-based, to surround herself with like-minded individuals to serve a collective cause and whom she can connect with. It then becomes a win-win for everybody, isn't it? Where Adora finds more joy within her, and others also benefit from all the experiences, learning, and knowledge within Adora. The second suggestion is for Adora to indulge in creative pursuits, such as singing, which allows her inner child to express herself fully. Adora's master shared that Adora had to suppress a lot in her inner child, be it in past or present lifetimes. She felt that nobody was around to bother to listen to her when she wanted to share. And the purpose of indulging in these creative pursuits is to allow Adora to voice out or express herself fully what is within her through things like singing, drawing, and performance, so as to release the suppressed energies within. It is akin to a ventilation channel to let things out. The third suggestion is for Adora to consider picking up meditation. For a start, she could download a meditation app and try a 10 to 15 minutes breathing meditation as guided. The purpose is to put Adora into a state of awareness of the present moment. Her master shared that we have all these worries because we keep thinking about the future or the past failed relationships. It then leads us into the negative spiral over and over again. And when we look into the future, we keep subconsciously comparing with other people's lives, and we feel so dejected and unlucky. Meditation allows us to indulge in the me time during the 10 to 15 minutes, not having to think about the past or the future or the need to compare with anybody. On the fourth query, Adora asked what should she do with her dating app. In response, her master suggested for her not to be so preoccupied with the dating app. Let it rest while Adora tries to do something different for herself by discovering and embarking on the earlier suggestions. On Adora's worry that she may miss out the right guy, her masters assured that no, you won't miss out. That missing out comes from the fear of abandonment, which is lurking deep within us. It keeps reminding us that nobody wants us, and we have to keep trying very hard for somebody to want us someday. Her master shared that it just puts us in a lower vibration, and hence we will keep attracting people who are unfaithful, whom we don't want to attract in the first place. And unfortunately, when we are preoccupied with the dating app, sometimes our mind may become very boxed up. Her master suggested that in her case, take this whole box away. Delete the app if needed. Let she focus, step out of comfort zone, surround ourselves with other like-minded people, with no expectations what will unfold. So in her case, try something new, surround herself with new environment and new skills and see what comes next. This puts her on a higher vibration and make her realize over time that all things are optional. On Adora's fifth query, she asked, will she meet the right guy? So on this, I received from her masters, yes, in time to come. Again, they reiterated for her not to be so preoccupied with the dating websites as they are not healthy for her in the long term, and to suggest for her to delete the app if she's willing to let go of it, to delete it so as to create new beginnings for herself, and trust that she won't lose out in meeting the right guy just because she lost the dating app. And her masters also suggested for her to try the 3 suggestions that we shared earlier. It might take a few months for Adora to see tangible results in her well-being, but don't give up. Keep trying daily and good things take time. On Adora's last query, she asked if there's anything that her masters wanted her to know. So for this, it was received from her masters that you are loved and supported as you are. Trust that all is unfolding well for you. Her masters elaborated that whatever predicament that she feels she's in right now, it doesn't matter because all is unfolding really well right now. Sometimes we just look at life as it is now because we are so preoccupied and we feel so trapped and dejected. But when we take a step back, we reopen our perspectives and realize a whole new world awaits, which we may not have considered previously. It brings us to the space where we are open to explore questions like why are we so close-minded in the past? And when we take a few steps back, sometimes the issue becomes a non-issue. Next, we went on to the healing segment. Adora requested for the healing to focus on allowing her to be more aligned emotionally and not to be easily affected by people or situations. So for the Akashic Light clearings and activations, these are energetic commands that assist the client to heal, release, and shift at all levels of the being, aligned to the highest good. So in the Adora's case, we were guided to send clearings and activations to first heal the inner child because of the past life fear of abandonment episode that came up for healing. So we focused on that to heal her experiences as an inner child from the age of 0 to 12 years old, where she felt unloved and unsupported in the past. Also, we ran healing for fear generally and with the intent to release the fear of abandonment as much as possible. We also ran clearings and activations to help remove the addiction towards the dating website so as to create more space within herself to explore new beginnings. We also sent healing to expand her self-esteem and confidence and trust in herself and the process, as well as to bridge the duality in the heart and the mind. As sometimes the mind may think a certain way, but the heart feels another way and it pulls her in different directions in misalignment. Here we are trying to bring everything back into alignment. We also ran clearings and activations to balance the left and right hemispheres of the brain and to reduce any overthinking and over-worrying in her case. We also worked on enhancing her self-worthiness, expanding the divine love she has within her for herself, as well as to expand the peace that she feels within. And we ended off the session with running the clearing and activation for abundance to infuse the energy of joy in all levels of her being. So the purpose of this session was to create the clarity for her by expounding on those issues that truly bottled her from within for many years. And once that clarity is received, with her permission, we've moved on to healing. And the purpose of the healing is to create space within her by removing all those baggage as much as possible that no longer serves. So with a space created from this healing, she's then able to facilitate and help herself in the days forward as an empowered individual to work on the 3 suggestions and also to embark on her life. Thank you for tuning in to this podcast. If you would like to read about my dialogues and reflections with the Akashic Masters, you can visit my free blog at asha-akashicrecords.com. Till next time, take care.